Welcome back to the Molloy Twins podcast, and today we're joined by a man who probably doesn't need an introduction for anyone who's watching. Probably one of the most well-known faces on the Irish comedy scene, and you know, he's flick on your TikTok anywhere, any given day, you'll probably see him popping up. It's Mr. Joe McGucken.
That's very flattering.
Joe, thanks very much for coming down and making the trip across. Appreciate it.
Oh man, sorry, like obviously I'm an hour and a half late, like, you know what I mean? You're so sweet and saying all them nice things after I'm.
You should have heard what you were saying before the camera went
before
on.
You got here.
Yeah.
Now it happens. Dublin traffic is a pain in the arse at the best of time. So,
and that roundabout, that Walkinstown roundabout, it's like,
Oh yeah, we said it on the podcast. If I was like elected president of Ireland, the first thing I did was just get every digger in the country united to come to Walkinstown and remove that thing.
destroy it.
Just get some traffic lights. Yeah, tactical nuke on it or something.
yeah,
It's terrifying.
it actually
It's
is.
terrifying. You just want to close your eyes and just like jam on the accelerator. Wherever I get off, I get off.
Do you know the way like in some like indigenous tribes and all, they have like a rite of passage into adulthood?
becoming a
Driving
man,
on that Walkinstown roundabout is like the Irish rite of passage.
That's it. Yeah, like that should be the driving test.
Just one exit on the Walkinstown roundabout.
If you can survive this, you're fully qualified to drive anywhere. You can drive anywhere.
It's like a big game of chicken going on, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
will I go? You're gonna go? You let me in? Will I just force my way in?
I just try to stay on like the inside lane and let somebody else on the outside lane go first.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then if somebody does T-bone, they'll get them and not me.
yeah, fair. We'll sacrifice that person. Yeah. Quality. We have a bit of quick fire to jump into first, and then we get into all the good stuff.
We do. I was actually, just because he said the man who doesn't need an introduction, I was trying to think of an introduction for Joe. And
right.
normally when I go with introductions, I try to keep like some alliteration. So like the last one was Craig Oakley, was like father, founder, future 1FC champion. I was like, with Joe, what do you go? And go like podcaster, parent. And I was like,
Pussy.
pervert.
Fucking hell. I'm glad you didn't do the introduction.
And I was like, prolific breakfast eater. I was like, yeah, leave that one out.
Put muncher.
Different podcast. But yeah, quick fire. First question, probably one you're sick of answering, but for anyone who isn't familiar with Joe, where did you grow up?
I grew up in the inner city, Dublin. Dublin 1, Summerhill, kind of Ballybock area in the flats there. In
Nice.
Dunn Street flats.
Sweet.
Yeah.
A man well known for a fry up. What's your favourite item from a fry?
From a fry.
Yeah.
I mean, the sausage.
Yeah.
Has to be the sausage.
The sausage.
Like, you know what I mean? It's quick. You can't have a fry without a sausage. You can have a fry without everything else, but you can't not have a sausage. And that they vary as well. Do you ever go to Spain and it's just like the pale sausages?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, did you cook this? Or did
Yeah,
you
what
just
is
like leave
this?
it in the
Yeah,
sun
yeah.
for a few minutes?
Fell on the toils outside.
Yeah. I think when you go to, even in England, if you go to Wetherspoons, if you get a fry in Wetherspoons, it's like they just threw it on the plate from the fridge. It's disgusting. Like, the sausages over
There's
there.
not fried on here.
Am I supposed to cook it?
Like steak on a stone, but sausage on a stone.
Yeah, like fry on a stone.
That's a good business idea. That's actually a show.
That'd be filthy.
Sick.
The sick as you'd see. Next question on the quick fire. How many children have you got?
I have two children, two
2
boys.
children. Nice. 2 boys. What age is the eldest and youngest?
5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
5 and 2. Well, okay. Kept busy.
Very busy, especially this time. Like we're recording this around Christmas time, sort of.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
anymore. but
Yeah.
The decorations are down, but
I'd say in the Christmas tree mess that you had to clean up.
oh yeah. I hate real Christmas trees. Like the missus wants real Christmas trees every year. I hate them. I think just get the plastic thing, stick it in a box. It's easy to put up. It's easy to take down. Mm-hmm. The bleeding hassle of them trees. Just do real Christmas trees.
Nah, fake.
I've never seen a real Christmas
Oh
tree.
yeah. I'd be on your camp on that, Joe. I don't see the logic in that one now. It's
There is no like.
a nice idea, but
They don't even look that nice. They're all gappy and like incomplete most of the time.
Yeah, and then at the end of Christmas, like they're just flopping down. you
Yeah,
know, the
yeah.
branches are hanging down.
Yeah.
The decorations are falling off the oak. It just looks miserable. It looks like a horrible plant in your house. I can't keep. I'm looking at that plant behind you. Is that real? No. Real. Okay. Like, that's very impressive. Like, I got
we're
a
in here
house
every
plant.
morning watering that now.
It's just I cannot keep. There's no flowers or anything like that in my house because I just can't keep them alive. You know the way some people.
I'm
have
just trying to
flowers
keep the kids alive is enough.
Keep
Hassle.
yourself alive.
Yeah,
Try
yeah.
to keep yourself alive is a fucking task. And that walking town roundabout.
Testing fate today.
I know you were saying you were out last night for a little bit. For a night out, would you prefer a night out in a club or a night in the pub?
Night in the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few points and a chat, like, you know.
Quiet one.
Even when I was younger and I used to go to nightclubs, I'd rather the smoking area, and I don't even smoke.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just chill out in the smoking area and natter rather than dance. I'm just not good at dancing, so
Stick to what you're good at.
yeah.
What did you want to be when you were growing up?
An actor. Wanted to be an actor. I wanted to do acting. Yeah, I was always into film growing up. Like I was always acting in school plays and.
I was saying on Talking Bollocks, you mentioned that.
Did I? Yeah.
Yeah, you said you were always in the background, but you enjoyed it.
Yeah. I was up, like, you know, if it was Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, it was just one of the boys or the disciples or the tree or something like that.
Yeah, you said that.
The three wise men with the oaks.
I was one of the gifts.
Frankincense mirror and Joseph McGucken.
Quality.
Yeah. I wanted to be an actor, and now I sort of am.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, you were on. You and Darren had the RTE skit. I'm not sure what name you'd put, like TV show sort of series that was going on.
Sketch show.
Yeah. How was that? What was that like shooting it? And
that was great. That was so much fun, man. It's great doing sketches with the lads. Like it's just a laugh. You know what I mean? To a point where it's too funny. Like I am so bad at corpsing. Like we're hiring in people. Like we're getting staff in who are on the clock, and if I can't get a scene because I'm laughing, like they're getting overtime rates then. Like they're weird. This is a job for me. Like, you know, so like, Joe, will you fucking pull it together? Like, but it's so funny. Like a lot of the time, like you're just cracking up, and there's a lot of improvising, and you never really.
I'd imagine so.
It's different every time. Like every take is different, and it's funny. It's a great experience to do it.
Yeah. With those things, how much, I suppose, creative freedom do you have? Is it literally like blank slate, kind of do what you want to do sort of thing, or are you given guidelines and boundaries of what is doable and isn't doable? And
well, what, like with Free Gaff?
So we'd say there was an episode I seen of you and Darren where it was something got to do with the rugby, and you were like going around trying out different stuff. You went down to Thomond Park, I think, to do something. You were up in Wesley practicing playing rugby and like getting tackled by rugby players and stuff. Like, is that ideas you would bring to them, or do people kind of give you as guidelines in terms of what they're looking for, and you can kind of go with that? Or
we kind of bring ideas to them, but they knew, like RTA knew that they wanted to do something around the Rugby World Cup, so we just kind of
played off that,
tailored an idea that would suit that. And he wanted it to be reality as well, like kind of factual entertainment. But we wanted to obviously put our surreal twist on it as well. So it's that's a different one. So that's Bandwagon, not Free Gaff, and that's like semi-scripted and semi-real.
Okay, yeah.
Like the start and the end is scripted. Like they're like sketches.
Yes.
And we play like it's factual entertainment, but we are playing characters in it as well.
Yeah.
Heightened versions of ourselves, because we didn't want to. I don't know. Even doing podcasts, like you're kind of being yourself, and yet we wanted to be more caricatures of ourselves.
Yeah.
Just so tell me about rugby, like, and
do
a Louis Theroux one or something. Like we didn't want to do it seriously, so but in terms of creative freedom, like we put pitch decks together and put that to them, and if they like it, then
we can roll with that.
Then they'll roll with it, and then you're tailoring stuff though.
Yeah.
You know, it's not 100% what you want to do, but
of course,
it's close enough.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of that stuff probably wouldn't be PG or good for telly if you.
It's a unique career trajectory, anyways, especially for somebody. And I don't mean this in any way offensive, but like from areas like yours, a lot of people end up going from areas like yours too. They go down paths that don't allow them to do what they enjoy in life ultimately towards the end of it, and you know, to go into, they don't get to mix in certain circles or find themselves with certain opportunities. Just wanted to ask, like, I say, for me, I think the first time I heard of you was the first time you went on Talking Bollocks.
Okay.
I had seen your face on, I can't remember the name of the skits you used to do with the lads.
The Wind Up Merchants?
The Wind Up Merchants.
Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't have known, like, this is Joseph McGucken.
Yeah.
But then I saw you obviously on Talking Bollocks and that's John McGucken. And since then, that was maybe, 3 years ago? 2-3 years ago. Yeah. And since then, I think I've seen your face every other day on social media in one place or another. But before all that kind of happened, what was life like for you kind of when you were leaving school, I suppose, in those early years, your 20s, trying to figure out what you want to do and where you want to go?
Like after I was all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I had no direction. I didn't go to college or anything like that, you know. It wasn't until I met Moira and she kind of steered me into the right, like, gave me a little bit of direction in my life. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was just all over the place. Like, I always say that I could have, like if a drug dealer just like showed interest in me, I'd have been a great mule. Like, I would have just gravitated to somebody who showed me any interest. Do you know what I mean? So I could have very easily went down any different bunch of paths. Like, do you know what I mean?
Whoever was like giving you a bit of praise and showing an interest in you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. nurturing you or whatever, you know.
Yeah. You could have been so easily manipulated.
Grooming you.
Yeah, groomed.
Joe, have a white van with sweets in the back. Do you want to get
Say no more. I'll drive. But yeah, like when I left school, like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a job. I was drinking. I think it was just like going out and drinking and
Really, yeah?
and partying and stuff like that.
In like a problematic kind of way, or just pass the time?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say it was problematic. Like just kind of looking back at it, but not. I didn't recognize it then.
Yeah,
that it was
yeah,
problematic.
yeah.
But if somebody was behaving the way I was behaving then, I'd be like, Jesus, Joe,
something going on?
stop that.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, pull yourself together. You know, I was so cheap, man. Do you remember? Like during the recession, that was all during the recession. Like the gargle was so cheap. There was pubs down like €2 points and everything.
Oh, really? That was before our time. Well, we are alive, but we're too young to know what a point will cost.
Yeah, you've missed out big time.
€2. yeah, that was the time to be alive.
Seriously, like. But yeah, I don't think in a problem. It was pretty normal.
Yeah,
my circle of friends, like to be drinking and going out like that. Nobody had high ambitions. I did. I always wanted to make short films and stuff like that, but most of the time was just go out and drink.
Yeah.
And like flow from job to job. I never had jobs, and then I done like a bar course. You'd be too young to remember Fáilte Ireland, but they do courses like 6-month courses where you learn how to be a waiter or you learn how to be a barman, but to like a 5-star standard and stuff. And then
Mixing the cocktails and doing all that sort of stuff.
Nice. Tom Cruise in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just doing jobs and bits and pieces from.
You mentioned as well you had spent some time in New York.
Yeah.
Around when was that? Was that early 20s or?
No, that was mid 20s. That was after college. Because when I got with Moira, then that's me. When I got with me now wife.
Oh, congratulations! Didn't know you were married.
Thanks very much. I felt like I had to impress her because she was in Trinity. She just finished Trinity College and she had a job and she was very impressive.
Jeez.
And so I was like, oh yeah, no, I make music videos and stuff like that. I'm a little bit of a videographer.
She pulled a short straw there, didn't she?
But I said to her then, I said like, oh no, I'm going to college like to study TV production and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, but I had said that. So then she like started the paperwork process and everything.
Ah, no way.
Like, oh yeah, great. And it just kind of led from college. Then I went to after college, I applied for a job in Setanta Sports, the sports broadcasting place, transmission place, and I didn't get it. And then I got a Jobs Bridge internship as an editor, as a video editor for a startup company. It was called Fan Footage. Like people sent in their footage from a concert and I'd edit it together and make a music video for whoever the band was. But because that was editing, I could do that from anywhere. So the missus was over in New York doing a master's, and I just asked him, man, I was on the internship. I said, can I just do this in New York? And he said, yeah, go for it. And so then I went over to New York and hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. It's so hollow. It's so like, I went on a holiday before and I enjoyed the holiday, but when you live there, it's different.
Yeah.
I was there for like 3 months and I got a phone call from Setanta Sports, and they said, do you want a job? And I was like, yes, I'm in New York, but I get the first flight tomorrow. And they were like, oh, are you sure? Like, you know, you could stay in New York if you want. Like, don't feel obligated to take this. But I thought that was like a dream job that I was accepting as well in my head.
Yeah.
But it wasn't then. And I was there for like 5 years. And that was a blatant shy job.
Was it bad, yeah?
Yeah. It was good in some ways, but it was shifts as well. It was like a month of days and then a month of nights, which would be 8 o'clock at night till 8 in the morning.
Really,
like 5 days on, then 5 days off. Yeah, so it takes a toll on your head, like.
Setanta Sports.
Yeah.
Remember they used to do the 3 o'clock kickoff on a
they used to
Saturday
show some decent games and all. Would you have been on TV at that stage, like, or were you working in the background? Like
in the background,
right.
Yeah. It's a transmission station, so it's not just Setanta Sports. Like there's 9 or 10 different stations that broadcast out of there.
Oh, okay.
You're just kind of taking in the feeds and cutting to breaks and like vision mix and stuff.
Okay,
like
right. Yeah. That's rough enough. So New York was not the the dream that so many people painted up to be.
It's horrible. I was in LA last year for the Oscars. We went over with Spain. Me and Darren
Sick.
had a radio station, and they sent us over for the Oscars. And it's horrible. It's horrible. Like, it's like a third world country. It's like this depravity.
I've heard people say that about LA recently, since COVID and everything else that's happened. It's like just full of homeless and
people taking shits on the street, like squatting and taking shits, and like that Hollywood Walk of Fame. I seen Willem Dafoe just received like a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But when you go over there, the Hollywood Walk of Fame is like the back of Moore Street. It's like this. It's disgusting. It's not a nice place to be, and it looks lovely in all these photographs and all these press releases and all, but it's. And then the Oscars, like, you know, you think of the Oscars, you think of the glitz, the glam. But then when you're actually over there for the Oscars, that's all fenced off. And on the other side of the fence, it's just like disgusting. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's just little pockets of wealth, and then everything else is fucking.
Yeah. The division, like, is so vast. And they're all just rude. Just on a, like, every day in LA, there was like an explosive argument between multiple people, like, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
It's just not like when you come back to Ireland, the people in the airport are having the crack.
Yeah.
Like the people walking there, you get in the taxi and the taxi man's having the crack, having a laugh. Everyone's just like having a good time here. It's great. I fucking love Ireland for that. It's amazing. And then you go over there and they're all just trying to kill each other or get something from you. Like, they're all trying to get something from you, trying to sell you something more. There's no genuine conversation.
Yeah, I get you. I heard you mention that on Talking Bollocks. It was like in New York, every interaction with a person was just like a sales pitch or like a transaction. Nothing felt genuine or like anyone actually really gave a shit about you. It was more like, what can I get out of you sort of job.
That's it, yeah. That was my experience.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, it's very popular. Lots of people love it. Like, I'm the exception saying that. But that's what it was for me. And like, Maura's parents lived in America for a long time, and when we were over there visiting them, one time we went to a restaurant with some old friends of Maura's. So there was the four of us, and then a guy came over. I assumed it was a friend of the people that we were there with. And he was with us for the whole night, and he was getting us drinks, and he was like, "Oh, we get some food," and like, yeah. And he came out, "Will we do shots?" "Yeah, all right, we do shots and all." And then at the end, like, "All right, we're gonna head off now." And then at the end, he brought over the bill. And I thought he was friends with them, but he was working there. That he was like a waiter, or I don't know, like, just, yeah. And I was like, "Do you not think that's weird? You don't know him. You never met that person before." And he's like, "No, I never. No, he's just a nice guy." I was like, "You're not a nice guy. He's like, getting money
just sticking us with a bill.
I thought we were onto a good thing. Like, I thought he was being really nice and really generous, but like, he's just like that. There's always an agenda. Always an agenda.
Do you feel like Ireland's gone more in that direction?
In the American way, like? No, I don't think so. I think when you talk to somebody, like, I think people aren't talking to each other as much as they used to. I think if you sit on a bus now, everyone head down, earphones in, and head down on their phone. Like, there's no opportunity to really engage. But I think when you do engage with people, they're very friendly and open. It's just harder now to crack that conversation open than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't talk to someone at the bus stop. I remember talking to people on the bus stop, like, years ago.
Yeah.
You just you start a conversation because you wouldn't. That's your entertainment. It's not TikTok, like, you know what I mean?
Sure. But you have such a, like, if you're going to talk to, like, if you're standing at the bus stop and I show up, I have like maybe 30 seconds to say something, because the longer you leave it to say it just gets more awkward the longer you leave
opportunity,
So it's a very small window you have. What would you, if you saw me stand at the bus stop and you wanted to make a conversation, what do you have any go-to conversation starters?
If I walked over to a bus stop, I'd say, "Are you waiting here long?" Like, I'd just like instantly just try to have a conversation with the person, because everyone has a story. Everyone's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, no one's not interesting. Every single person, as boring as they might seem, like, everyone has a story, or everyone has a, you know, not everyone will want to interact and have a conversation as well. I'm just trying to get a fucking bus here, mate. Not everything's a fucking podcast. But it's I don't know, like, when you talk to people, then they're open and they're not trying to sell you anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how they make money as well. Like, maybe even to a detriment. Here, if you go to a shop and you want help, you kind of have to look for it. Do you know, you kind of have to find someone.
Any Walker.
Anything going on here? Is this place closed? But like over there, they're on top of you, and they actually have. So if you walk, this is what they teach you when you start a job in like a clothes shop. Let's say Kroger's or a food shop or whatever, a supermarket. If you come within 5 feet of a customer, you have to say "Good day, sir." And if you come within 3 feet, then you have to say like, "It's a fantastic day, isn't it?" Or something like. They have things that you have to say based on how close you are to somebody. Based on the proximity.
Could you imagine like being in Spar and some fella stacking shelves and it comes within 3 foot and like, fantastic day, sir, isn't it? Like if you freaked out, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You get shivers on me back thinking.
I'm never going to that Spar again.
He's gonna kill me. Psychopath.
Did you get my reg on the way out? It's gas. That setup in America is. It's an interesting spot. We've never been, either of us, and it was interesting. You mentioned a story on Talking Bollocks, even of like, I think some fella was trying to sell comedy tickets, and you had bought comedy tickets to a show. You didn't know that, and he didn't know that, but you were having a conversation. Then at the end, it was like, "Do you need tickets for this show?" And then you were like, "Oh, I've got them already." And he's like, "What the fuck, you wasting me time?" It's like, even situations like that come up. It's like
switched on a dime.
Yeah.
Do you like comedy? Yeah. I love comedy. It's one of my favourite things.
That's what I do.
And he's like, "Oh, there's a comedy show like on over here." Like he's all happy and he's chatting to me about my favourite comedians and stuff like that. And I'm from Ireland. And he's like, "Oh, we gigged in the Laughter Lounge." I was like, "Oh, no way. Gee, that's my small world." And then he's like, "There's a show on if you want to go see it. It's like, you know, $10 a ticket." I was like, "Oh, I'm actually going to that. I got a deal on Groupon." And then he goes, "Well, what the fuck are you wasting my time for?" Like, switch.
Yeah, it was me. You started the conversation with me.
Yeah. I thought we were just having a conversation. I thought we were bonding.
I was going to ask you doing that later.
That's another, like, there's people giving out medallions or like rosary beads or something. It was something religious paraphernalia. And I thought they were just kind of giving them out. And I was like, "Oh, thanks very much." And then they were like, "That's $10. I'm like, man. Rosary beads, for fuck's sake. It's cool. I don't want them. Jesus. So expensive as well. Very, very expensive as well.
It's pricey as well,
Very expensive. It's like $7 for 6 eggs.
All right.
It's expensive, isn't it?
$1 an egg. So
a bit more than $1.
Yeah. Where were you living actually in New York?
Brooklyn, south of Brooklyn.
Okay. How was that? Was it a nice area? Was it similar enough to kind of Dublin general area?
You can't go anywhere. Like, it's so big. You have to get the subway. For everywhere that you're going. But yeah, it was a nice area. It was fine. But like you wouldn't spend time in it. You'd get the subway into Manhattan or upper Brooklyn. Like there wasn't. It was very residential. It was.
Yeah, nothing special.
Yeah.
Nice. And then you left New York after 3 months to come back to Ireland. And did Moira stay on there for some time longer? Or?
She stayed on for a little bit because she was over doing a master's, and as part of her master's, she had to do some business shit over in New York, like. But then she came back. Thank God. Obviously.
Was she in agreement with you around? Like, was there ever any like her feeling like I might want to live in New York, and you'd be like, "Oh no, I want to live in Dublin"? Or
yeah. She liked it. She liked New York a lot. Yeah, it was a contentious time. But I just hated it so much. Like, I just really despised it. And it was kind of a balance. I think I hated it more than she loved it. So the compromise was come back to Dublin.
Come back home.
But if she wasn't, she lived in Spain as well for a while. Like, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't be in Ireland. I think she'd probably have moved to America or somewhere warmer. She hates the weather here.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
Yeah, the weather is shit.
It's pretty dark, isn't it? Yeah.
So shit.
What's worse, the weather or the walking sound roundabout? If you could only fix one of them.
The walking sound roundabout on a rainy day. Can you think of anything worse?
That's where your dreams go to die, isn't it?
That's hell. Like, that's
when you die. That's
you just constantly, no matter which exit you take, you end up back at the walking sound
again. Just on a loop. So be good in school, kids, or that's what awaits you in the afterlife.
Walking sound roundabout, 3 lanes. What's the inside?
I don't get it. I've tried to figure it out. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's amazing. Amazing. Wait, are you from around here? Yeah.
We're from Bonogue in Clondalkin, so it's not too far out. Thankfully, we didn't have to worry about that thing growing up. We've normal roundabouts where we come from. I don't know. So with this one,
And what happened to a good old corner?
You don't see them anymore. The lollipop ladies and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The backbone of society.
That's it.
Yeah, that's nice.
For you, Joe, I was curious. Growing up in like areas where we grow up in, obviously you were very much from day. Well, you were saying earlier on you wanted to be an actor, and like having a creative element to you is obviously something that served you so well now in your career and what you do and how you make a living in today's world. But growing up in environments like that where it's probably more, I was going to say macho or masculine, but I don't even know if it is, but people at least want to put on a front as if it is kind of a masculine or like tough guy environment, you know, that
Survival kind of.
yeah, just naturally enough being in those places. Did you feel that growing up? Did you fit in? Did you struggle to fit in because you had that creative side to you? Or
That was the reason why I fit in. I was the funny fella, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was the, you know, there is this idea that being in the inner, like, there's this idea that the inner city kind of stunts people from being creative, but I think it's actually very much the opposite. Like, if you look just at the little square that I'm from, like, you have myself, Gemma Dunleavy, Lar Kinlan, Kelly Harrington, Troy Parrott, the original Road Boys, Neddy Arkins, Sean Walsh. There's like so many creative people in the very small area that I'm from that I don't really buy I don't buy that being from the inner city can stunt you like that. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying, and I know a lot of people do say that, but I disagree with that. I think ultimately, because when I was younger, I'd do Jackass. Do you remember Jackass?
Yeah.
We'd get a camcorder, and go around doing stunts around the area, and then like sell the videos, like burn them onto videos, copy the videos over and sell them door to door, like go around it. And that was kind of, everyone knew us for doing the Jackass. So I was always the fool, the clown. I never kind of took myself seriously. I felt like I had to put on a front and like that. And I never felt the need to have to do that either. Because it's such a tight community as well, and it's all, everyone's like,
knows
it
each
feels
other.
like a family. It felt like a family. Like, I felt like you knew. Now when I go into town, I don't know anyone, so it doesn't have that same
anymore.
feeling. But growing up, I wasn't affected by what people, I think, would assume.
You didn't feel a need to like hide that or to bottle it up. It was almost like that helped you to fit in or helped you be part of the.
Yeah, it's like that's what I done. Like, some people played football and that was their thing.
Yeah.
Or some people sang, some people danced. Like, it was a very, like, there's a dance group around the area, Francesca Arkin's dance club. Like, that was a clique, and I felt like everyone had a thing. Do you know what I mean? I felt like everyone did have a thing, and it was all nurtured. Everyone wanted everyone in their area to be the best at. You know what I mean? There was a great support network of an entire community, like thousands of people.
Sick.
It's great. It's really, really positive, I think.
Nice. That's deadly.
It should be, you know, which goes against what the perception probably is.
Oh,
and I can see
100%.
an argument for the other side as well, like, you know what I mean? Because the area is like ravaged with, or well, it was in the past anyway, ravaged with drugs and addiction and alcohol and stuff like that, and antisocial behaviour. But you were the best drug dealers.
Yeah, top
they
of
were
the
my
pops.
drug dealers.
It's deadly to say, and a great point to make. Like when me and Lee would have been like growing up, I don't think I was very creative anyways, but even if I had that element, I think I would have felt almost like I would have had to tone it down a little bit or try keep up some front or some image to maybe not be picked on. And is that just an internal thing, or is that actually what is being put on you? I'm not sure, but like the fact that you felt like you were empowered to step into that, and like people around you actually supported it and wanted you to go and be the best. If that's what you want to do, go be the best at that, you know, that way. Like, I think that's such a great supportive environment that hopefully people have, but I don't know if many people feel like they have it nowadays.
I might change my mind tomorrow on that opinion as well, because like on the other side of the coin, you'd be slagged as well a little bit. Oh, go on Steven Spielberg or something.
Yeah.
But it'd only be a little jest, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Taking the piss of it, yeah.
But then there'd also be people saying, "Oh, you did a film? Yeah, I'm after getting a tape, or do you want a video recorder or something?" Like they'd be like, oh, Joe likes the film, he'll like this thing.
Yes, yeah.
So they
yeah.
would have it in the back of their mind that that's your thing, and they'd help out wherever they could
Nice. Nice balance.
on a subconscious kind of level, like, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, of course.
To a point, I think to a point, like, you know, that's an Irish thing as well.
It is.
If you become too successful, then
There is
you'll
definitely a
become
balance.
resentful.
Yeah. Would you? I'm sure are you uncomfortable if somebody was to refer to John McGucken as a success? Would that make you feel uneasy? Or
Yeah. I think so. I think I'd be flattered a little bit, but I'd be like, no, I'm not, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's all relative. I get that,
yeah.
but I just feel like, I don't know, the barometer for success, I don't think I've reached that. I wouldn't ever, I don't think I'd say that I've reached success. And what is success anyway?
100%.
You know what I mean?
Do you think success, even since having children and stuff, the definition of what success would look like has probably changed significantly for you?
Big time.
Mm.
Big
Yeah.
time. Like, you listen to the Talking Bollocks podcast, I talked about my son when he was born, he had like brain damage and stuff, but he's fine now. But when all that shit happened, and when it was all, before he was born, there was a comedy festival on. I said this already, you probably know it, but there was a comedy festival on. It was the Vodafone Comedy Festival. It's now the Paddy Power Comedy Festival. But I was looking at all the lineups, like Enya Martin was on it. There was loads of people, loads of my peers in the industry. They were all gigging it, and I was like, oh, next year I'll do that. Next year I'll do that. Next year, and I was kind of jealous of everyone on the poster. And then all that shit happened with Oliver at his birth.
Right.
And then I walked past that and I'm like, that is the most insignificant bullshit. Like, why did I want that?
Yeah.
Like, why did I want that? Like your priorities change drastically. And I think if your priorities change, then your perspective on success changes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened to me, having a kid, I think.
It's massive.
Yeah,
Scary,
that
isn't
good
it?
shit.
Well, yeah. Massive.
But do you have kids?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
no.
you're the center of your own world. You're the most, and you're the only important thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, in your head. When you're not the most important thing anymore, and I mean that, like, that sounds, oh, I'm not important anymore. I mean that in a positive way. Like, it's not about you anymore. It's about a different person that you have unconditional love for. This annoying little shit machine.
Yeah.
But like, it just changes things. Yeah. The reasons that you're driving for it, whatever drove you before,
Right.
you're getting into a different car. Like, you know, you're playing a different game.
It might be hard to answer, but what would you say was your driving force before kids, if there was one?
I think, if you trace it back to what I was saying about, like, having a thing, being something, or having a thing.
Identity, kind of. Or deeper
My
than that.
driving force, I think, was because I felt like I could do it.
Okay.
I felt like when I was a teenager and I'd look at RTA and I'd look at Naked Camera was on Savage Eye, I was always like, I could fucking do that. I could do that. And Republic of Telly always had like a segment at the end where they showed other people's sketches, and I was sending in sketches and they never picked them. And I was like, like, I can fucking do what they're doing. Like,
Yeah.
what drove me was the feeling that I could do it. Like, I should be on the telly, or I should be doing this, or I should be, you know
Yeah.
that way. And you see somebody doing something that you know you can do. Like, what's your thing? What's your thing? Like, do you play football? Do you play rugby?
Used to play football, and I probably would have experienced a lot of the same emotions.
Yeah.
Probably delusionally, because we weren't that good or talented, but there's still that urge inside you where it's like, with enough time and training and the right environment, I could definitely do what these people are doing.
Yeah. Success is just a delusion with an opportunity, though. Do you know what I mean? If you put someone in the right, like, I'm not the funniest person in Ireland. There's
Right.
people out there that are a lot funnier than me. My brother is funnier than me. But it's just you kind of fit into a mold, and you try to, you just take what you have and you try to run with it. Do you know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you about that funniness, and not at all to put a dark spin on where this conversation is heading, but I was listening to a podcast the other day. I think it was Diary of a CEO.
Right.
And they're basically saying, like, they had this running joke where when he has comedians on the podcast, he asks, like, which one of your parents was fucked up, because, like, humour was just used then as, like, to keep the peace within the household. Like, humour became like this shield that the child would use just to try keep everybody from killing each other. And Did humor, were you just always naturally funny, or did humor kind of come across or stumble upon humor as like some sort of like self-defense mechanism, or like have you just been like a funny kid and always kind of attracted to funny things?
It's a hard one to answer because I don't think that I'm that funny.
Right. Yeah.
I think I know what funny is. I think I'm good at seeing funny, and I'm like, everything that I do is usually within a group. I think on a subconscious level, I'm always trying to hide behind people. Like I was doing the Wind Up Merchants, that was a group.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing stuff with Darren and Jer. And you know what I mean? I wouldn't be very comfortable, I don't think, just going out and doing something by myself.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So I wouldn't consider myself necessarily funny. I think I'd be cheeky. I'd be a cheeky little bastard growing up, and that was just a sarcastic little snipey. I'd say if I seen a kid that was me, I'd want to give him the back of my hand and say, yeah, cheeky, fuck yeah. Stare at me. I was a skinny. You'd be like, who is this little prick? Seriously. But yeah, I think that's what I think my humour is dark, and I think it's just cheeky and sarcastic. I think if I was to define my sense of humour and my style of humour, that's what it would be. And I think funny is subjective, like, so some people might find that funny and some people might not.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Even in terms of what you do, like, because as you were saying at the start, like, we're going to do an intro for Joe's, like, you've this like big resume of different things that you've done in the past and probably different plans for the future. But like, if somebody was to sit you down and say, oh, John McGucken, what do you do? What would your answer to that question be?
I don't know. I'd say like in social media bios, I have actor and producer, or comedian and producer,
right,
something like that. But writer, I think I write everything that I do. It's kind of written. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, if it's a TV show, or then that's written. If it's a stand-up show, that's written. If it's, you know, whatever I'm doing, I've written it, wrote it. Written.
He graduated from Trinity English.
Wrote is the past tense. We get someone to fact check in. But that's interesting. Do you feel like the kind of writing process is it like an anxiety thing where it's like, let me just write down a script this out in my head, or do you actually feel like you are at your best when what you're doing is coming from a script? Does that question make sense?
Say it again.
So like, for you, is writing this process of just getting like, if you're going into this thing and it's like, okay, I have to be funny here, or something funny needs to happen, is there like so much anxiety inside you that you'd rather just write everything out just to get it out on paper, or is it actually you think you perform better when you're following a script?
No, I think I perform better when I'm improvising, but I think it's probably funnier if it's written. It's more structured.
Mm-hmm. Right. I would have thought just because I would struggle, not that I think I'm like particularly funny, but if someone gave me a piece of paper and said, write something funny on that page, I'd be like,
where do I start?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, like I like, maybe it's the hiding behind things again. When I done stand-up comedy, I'd have a guitar with me, and I think that was kind of hiding behind the guitar. And I think...
Do you play guitar?
I do play guitar.
Oh, yeah. Didn't know that. Stick musician in the bio as well.
Yeah, I used to be in a band. I used to be in an Irish hip-hop band.
No way.
Yeah. But I think the writing process is kind of hiding away as well. It's like hiding in a room and making a sketch in your head without having to put yourself out there until you have to actually make it. But the process of writing, I think, I find very exciting. I love writing.
Yeah.
I think it's probably my favourite part of it, yeah.
Oh,
like, I'd like... I never wanted to even be in front of the camera. I wanted to just write and produce and direct. And me friends who are a lot funnier than I am, I originally wanted them to be in front of the camera and I'd shoot them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fucking sketch. Did you ever see the sketches I done with Barry Keoghan? And
I didn't see it. I heard you talking about them. I didn't see the ones with Barry in it.
Well, the other fella in that is the fella in the Wind Up Merchants, and I just think he's so funny. And that's originally why I wanted to do the Wind Up Merchants, was to fucking put him on a...
Yeah.
And anyone that I work with, I'm like, I see your comedy, I see it, and I want to do this with it, like, you know what I mean? I want to shape it a little bit more, and I love to, you know, when you're writing and you have someone in mind for that, it's so exciting. It's really exciting.
I have to ask, because you name dropped him, how much credit do you take for Barry Keoghan's?
100%.
How much of his paychecks do you think?
I was doing a play years ago. And the director of the play was the casting director for Fair City.
Okay.
And Barry just done bits and pieces like with me and like sketches and stuff like that. And she needed somebody that looked like they were under 18 but was actually over 18. So I suggested Barry because you know what he looks like.
Fits the criteria.
Yeah, perfect. Like, you know, so I put him forward and he got it. And then after that, he went on to Bow Street and got part in Love Hate.
Lovely.
Done bits and pieces, you know, the Joker and all.
Yeah. I mean, you speak about inner city and people from in there who've done. I mean, like he's probably towards the top of the tree now in terms of Hollywood and the acting game.
Yeah. He's like, he's so hot right now.
Yeah, so he is.
He's doing bits. He's doing really good.
Yeah. And normally, if someone says someone from that area is scorching, they mean something completely different. But Barry is scorching in a positive way.
Yes.
I know the wind up merchants and everything that went, but I always find these things interesting to like go back to those early days of whatever it is you're doing and like looking at them, even though it was very like raw, and I was like, just grab a camera, let's do something funny, and like we don't know what's going to happen with it. Nothing planned, nothing too formal, but like we have a dream or an idea. And take that to nowadays where like you're essentially making a living doing not the same stuff but similar kind of stuff to what would have been done on the Wind Up Merchants. How much do you think like those early days doing that stuff just with your mates with a camera without any real like formal professional pressure but getting to like test yourself and do new things, how much has that like shaped the success you've been able to have nowadays?
100%. Like it's directly associated.
Yeah.
Like it's directly associated with the stuff that I was doing back then. And the stuff that I was doing back then, like even before the Wind Up Merchants, like it was going on YouTube and yeah, even before then I was going on YouTube, but we were using like video cameras from the youth club, like the Swan Youth Club and stuff. So we go in there and they sent me on editing courses. They sent me to Film Base in Temple Bar to do an editing course and everything. So that's what I mean when I say like me creative dreams were nurtured. And you know what I mean? There was people looking out. But it's like it's 100% like directly associated to the stuff that I'm doing now.
Man. Thankfully, it was the creative dreams nurtured and not the drug trafficking.
I know. That's what I meant. Like,
I
could have very easily like
gone down a different path altogether. Yeah.
I remember I knew two lads and they got arrested for having loads of drugs, and I was friends with them. They got arrested for having loads of drugs, and I was like, how come they didn't ask me? Like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm great at hiding stuff.
I'll be a mule. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Oh, Joe, don't want that to do with it. No, I do. I want that money. I want that bread. You're all, I'm over here playing bleeding PlayStation 2 with Tony Hawks, and you're all smuggling drugs into the country. Sake. Making that money. But yeah. Instead of the drug dealers, it was the youth leaders, and I have a lot to thank them for.
Oh man, some unsung heroes of society in that crowd. Yeah,
big time.
See, when you were doing those videos with the Wind Up Merchants, like, did you have anything in mind of like an outcome you were trying to achieve with those early things? Like, was it like, I want to do this so I can build my profile and then grow on to these things, or was it more just like, I'm interested in this stuff and I want to just explore it more and kind of learn?
I wanted to build a platform that brands would use and promote their businesses.
Right.
Like pay us to make a sketch to promote their businesses. So I wanted to build a platform basically. And I wanted the Wind Up Merchants to be like a collective, a group of people, a bunch of people, and anyone could kind of post on it. Now it's different now because you've TikTok and you've Instagram and all this. Back in,
you were a visionary.
Facebook. Yeah. That's all there was. It was just fucking Facebook. It's so much easier. Now you have to shoot stuff fucking like portrait mode.
Stop, I know.
It's a pain in the eye. This will probably cut down into portrait mode and squeezed in, and the head will look like fucking that size.
Well, that's not the camera joke. Come on.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Starting out with the Wind Up Merchants was to build a platform for businesses. That's kind of how I seen it. And also, I felt like I could do it. I felt like me mates are funny. We have a camera. Like, we have the technical ability. Like, fucking let's just go out and make shit. Good stuff. Like, let's go out and make high quality sketches and put them on the internet. Nobody was doing it then. Like, nobody was doing it. I'm trying to think if there was a group called Chapsai. like you probably wouldn't remember them. But they probably would have been. They only released a few videos, and I was like, oh, they're good.
Yeah.
But they went on then to do stuff separately. Like they're still knocking around doing. I think one runs Lad Bible or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Right.
But yeah, they. Other than them, and no one from the inner city, no one with an accent like mine, no one working class was doing it.
Yeah.
So I was like, come on, for fuck's sake. We're not going to be given an opportunity, and we still won't. You have to go out and just fucking make it for yourself. That was the mentality, like, sick of waiting around for things to happen and doing auditions and self-tapes and putting yourself out. You just need to fucking do it yourself, I think. Maybe. I'm wrong.
It worked out so well for you so far.
Yeah, so far so good. We'll see. Still time to be cancelled.
Well, you've done well so far avoiding that one.
Dodging bullets left, right. It sounded like bleeding Neo out of the Matrix.
Is that something that you're conscious of throughout your kind of sketches and what you do with Darren? Is it always like a theme in the conversation?
In the back of your head, yeah.
It's there now more than ever because I've carved out a little career for myself.
Yeah.
So if you get cancelled, like that's your
lot to lose.
Your livelihood gone. Yeah.
It's weird as well though, because I feel like it's only an online thing. Like anyone you talk to on the street, I feel like everyone has like the same sense of humor. And can tell like this was a joke, this was not meant seriously. But once you put something online, it just takes on a life of its own.
Nuance is gone.
Yeah.
Especially like on Twitter when you only have like 180 characters to get your point across. You know, it's the nuance has gone out of the conversation online. Anyway. But yeah, just stick to me comedy then. And then I don't have to worry about it. But there's, you know, as a fucking comedian, you want to make there's shit going on in the world, and you're like, can I make a joke about that? Like I gave an opinion on a film and got roasted for it. I don't know
which film.
Like Florida and Son.
No,
didn't hear of it. No,
I put a tweet about it, and do you know Eve Hewson?
No,
that name does sound familiar.
Okay, it's Bono's daughter.
Yeah, I was thinking Houston. Yeah.
And I said Bono's daughter. She plays like she was just bleeding.
I do remember seeing this actually. Yeah, I do remember seeing it. Yeah,
but she was crap in the film, and I said that, and I got fucking roasted for it. And people took her up as like, oh, can you know, just because you're not working class, can you not play a working class person?
Yeah, it was something got to do with that. Yeah, that's right.
You can. Anyone can play anyone, obviously. But if you're bad at it, and if you do a caricature of that character, then
it's bad acting.
Yeah, and you know, you're not immune to criticism. Anyone could be criticised. So
yeah.
Clearly.
It kind of ties into a question I wanted to ask you about starting up, because you said there wasn't many people doing the videos and posting that online at the beginning, and when there's not a lot of people doing it, there's obviously a big opportunity for someone to step in and do it, but there's also a big risk of you going and doing it and then getting all the backlash and all the criticism and the hate and the slaggings and everything else. Did the fear of that stuff, obviously it didn't long term stop you from doing it, but did that ever like turn you off wanting to do it or post stuff online or to put yourself out there with the potential of knowing that I could get roasted here or I could come back to bite me in the arse?
No, I don't think so, because I never really gave a fuck. I never had. I genuinely, like, I was as poor as you could be in this country. That's like, as you know, which is not like there's other countries where you could be a lot poorer in this country, but I was as poor as they come. Like 7 of us in a 2-bedroom flat. Like I didn't have a lot, so I had nothing to lose by putting myself out there. Do you know what I mean? Like I put up a video and I get a bit of hate. Who gives a fuck? Like that's kind of the attitude that I had then, and I still kind of do have that as well. Like who gives a fuck? Give a fuck about strangers on the internet?
Yeah.
Who are like doesn't bother me. I'm not bothered. Like, you know what I mean? Some people, I get that. Some people are bothered by it, but I couldn't give a fuck what a stranger thinks of me, good or bad. Like. Good. I'd like. I think it'd be nice if people thought good stuff of me, but couldn't give a fuck if they thought negative stuff, because turn your phone off and then they're gone. You know what I mean? They're not real. Like it's not real.
Just unplug the Wi-Fi and
Just go. Just watch the telly. Stick the telly on or something. Like no, yeah. I wouldn't be afraid of any backlash of a video.
It's interesting. It's great, but I don't think it's the norm. Like I think most people that I would speak to anyways would be like, oh, I'd love to do something like that, but you know what, if I put it out and people slag me or people...
Even Enya was saying she held off. She'd done sketches for a long time, but until she was Enya Martin, like there was a lot of fear and like, will I, won't I, what will they say, how might this reflect on this? it's cool that you took the jump from the get-go.
Well, it's hard if it's out of your character, but it was easier for me because I was always doing shit like that, you know what I mean? Like from making jackass videos when I was 10. Do you know what I mean? So I was always kind of messing around with that stuff. But if me ma started doing comedy sketches, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here? Because it's out of character. If you do something that's out of character, it's a little bit like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit unsettling. And then people get used to it. But yeah, if it's out of the norm, then it is a bit weird. And you are vulnerable and you are opening yourself up to something that you don't understand or you wouldn't be aware of.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Even with that, like, I know you said you don't find yourself particularly funny, but the fact that you have comedian in your bio, let's just assume you are funny, right?
Okay. Let's assume you're funny. I'll stick that in me. Just assume I'm funny.
Assume I am.
Self-proclaimed comedian. But obviously, people see you and there and stuff online, and there's always like a humorous side to it, and it's never to be taken seriously. And I'm sure if anybody like randomly comes up onto you or comes up to you on the street, they're probably going to say something like, "Oh, your video was gas," or "I thought it was deadly." Do you ever feel a certain sense of pressure in situations to be the funny one? Or yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. Or to be nice. You kind of feel the pressure, like to be not a dickhead or something. I remember Ricky Gervais was like, as soon as they recognise you, then they assume they want to tip. Then like they know, it's fucking Ricky Gervais, like, you know what I mean. So then he has to turn it on. He has to be Ricky Gervais. He has to be David Brent. Kind of thing. I'm not drawing that comparison with me because I'm not fucking Ricky Gervais. But I think there is that. Like sometimes you just want to be. I'd say 90% of the time I'm just into horrors. I'm like, thank you, cunt, like, you know what I mean? But then you see someone on the street and they're like, Joe, maybe I fucking love your videos and all. You're going to have to like, thanks very much, man.
Turn on, yeah.
And it's you kind of have to be turned on then, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean...
Or do you mean just like in social situations with people that you know?
No, probably more so with strangers. I'd say with people you know, they kind of know that Joe has a funny side and he's also a cranky fuck sometimes, and that's just give and take. But I'd say more so like somebody with a public profile that's just, you know, I'm assuming you never want anyone to like go out of their way to like come up and say they loved your stuff and then you give them like a bad experience of meeting you or whatever that is. But there's also the other side where you're a human being and you have your own shit going on and you're not always in funny mode.
Yeah. But I'm an awful people pleaser.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Like the fact that I was so late to this was like, my stomach was in knots, like, you know what I mean?
We were only saying on the way up because the traffic was shit for us as well. I was like, I hope he doesn't get there before us. I'd hate to be the one to walk in late, you know, that way.
Yeah. It's so fucking shit. Like, and so I would do it for myself. Like, it wouldn't be for them or anything. It'd be nice for me. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd hate for somebody to not have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that ever put you in, let's say, bad positions? Do you feel like the people pleasing side of things that ever put you in places where you have to like overcommit to doing things or like take on loads of shit and then you're like, oh fuck, why did I say yes to this? It's
an issue for me with drink, with alcohol.
Right.
Because I'd hate to leave someone in the pub. Do you know what I mean? So I'd always have to be the last person there. I'd leave the last person because I'd hate for somebody to. Yeah, I'd hate to just like. That's how much of a people pleaser I am. Like, I'd hate to just leave someone in the pub and then I end up getting drunk and fucking acting the bollocks. Like, you know?
They leave you.
It's only recently, in the last couple of years, that I've kind of become aware of that.
Yeah.
And noticed that and tried to change it. Try to be more selfish.
It's even funny the way that the word there is selfish.
Yeah,
it's like
last word.
Yeah, it's like it's a harsh way to describe just putting yourself first. But that's the way it can come across sometimes, isn't it? Like, fucking dickhead, why aren't you coming for a drink? Or it's a hard one to balance. Yeah,
and it is what it is. Like, you know, it's selfish. I feel like it's a dirty word. Like, it's a selfish prick. Like, how is that an insult? It's like, it's a good thing. Like, I think you should be selfish a little bit. I think it's healthy.
Big
to be selfish. Like, it's taking care. It's literally just taking care of yourself. It's doing what's right for you. Like, why is that a bad thing? Why is it bad to be selfish?
Yeah, it's very bastardized, isn't it?
I don't know if it's an Irish thing only.
I can't comment on other cultures, but I definitely feel like there's an Irish thing to it.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be the one who's always doing shit
Selfless.
for others, like looking
Yeah.
out for other people, and then you're just left at the end of it with like pissed off, frustrated, no time for yourself, no energy left over, and it's like
No money left.
yeah, drunk, jocks down on the floor of the pub, pissing yourself.
I think being a people pleaser can be very detrimental to a person.
Absolutely. Just on that topic of taking care of yourself, something that always comes up on most conversations we have is something to do with like mental health or just within that area. I know on Talking Bollocks you spoke a bit about that time with your son, I think, and you'd lost your father not long before that podcast, and you had mentioned, I don't remember off the top of my head, so I'm not going to try and butcher whatever you said, but there were certain mental health struggles that you were going through at certain points in your life.
Yeah.
How have you been since then? How's life these days? And is there anything that like jumps out as like, I don't know?
I don't. Have you ever taken magic mushrooms?
No.
No. Last year I went on a retreat where it's like a 3-day retreat, and like it's a group setting.
Was it in Ireland or abroad?
In Ireland.
In Ireland, yeah.
And yeah, it's
Back in Morsey.
What?
The back in Morsey. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Portobello mushroom. Yeah, I went down. I done a retreat, and like the shit that even the fucking shamans was saying, you need to go to a therapist after this. Like, this is only gonna crack the seal. Like, it's a lot of shit going on, but I had that experience with the mushrooms, and that completely kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things that were making me feel really bad, that was affecting me mental health and stuff like that. And that's just it. They say one trip on magic mushrooms is the same as like 6 months or maybe even 6 years of therapy, like the trip that I sends it on. Because one of the things was my dad. You said that my dad passed, and then my brother passed as well. Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest thing that I was dealing with in my head was the last memory that I had of my brother was me throwing a coat over in the lashing rain. He was drunk, kicked him out of the house, and then I didn't see him again after that. He passed shortly, a while later, but I didn't see him between that moment and that killed me, and that memory haunts me. Not so much anymore, because when I took the mushrooms, that scene played out, and I was watching it like as a third person. But then suddenly I could see everything happening from his perspective. So he was at the bottom of the flat, and he was looking at me, and he was sorry. He was sorry. So I always kind of seen him as sad or pathetic, but when I took the mushrooms, it flipped it on its head, and he was sorry to me instead of me being sorry to him, or me being sorry to myself, or whatever way I was thinking of it. But it completely changed my perspective of it.
Okay.
And then my dad as well. I always felt like I could have done more in his later years, my dad's later years. But when I took the mushrooms, I had an experience where I used to pick him up on the weekends in the car from the hospital and bring him back to the house. But then that stopped because of COVID. Then I didn't get to see him for a long time until he passed. But when I took the mushrooms, I went to pick him up from the hospital, and he came out, and he always had like a central bag with his clothes in it, like, you know, it's just fucking little bag or whatever. But he came to the door, and he just waved. He didn't come out and get in the car as he usually would. He came out and he just waved at me, and he went back in. And that kind of made me feel, in the experience, in the trip, it kind of made me feel like I did do enough. I done, like, he's happy with what I done. Like, he was happy with what I done. I think it shows you what you need to see, and it just completely changed my perspective on everything that I was thinking. And it still all bothers me. I still haven't fucking fully dealt with any of the shit, and there's a lot to unpack and go through. But that, like, experience last year was just life changing. It's incredible experience.
Damn, it's unreal. Like the closure you got from just seeing from your brother's perspective, from your dad's perspective.
Never would have done it by myself. Like, I never would have come to that like comprehension. But it's there. It's all there. Like, you know what I mean? It just goes to show the power of the subconscious.
That's it.
Because that's what it does. Like, it just takes the subconscious and brings it to the surface. and you can just
Were you
walk
scared
through the
to
shit.
take the mushrooms? Like, were you aware that that is what it will do?
I didn't have a really visual, like some people have really vivid. I actually came out of it and said that was shit. I said that was shit. Like, I didn't. If anything, it made things worse because I'm experiencing all the bad things that I had in my head. And it wasn't until I went home that night, 2 nights later, I had a dream, and then I figured out what the experience was about.
Fucking hell.
Like other people had really trippy dreams, and they went to crazy places, and it's like, but mine just kind of felt like I was just thinking.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
Euphoria.
it wasn't euphoric or anything like that. It was just kind of like I was thinking about things. I wasn't seeing them, or I wasn't visual. Well, I didn't hear that. And I was just thinking of these things.
Okay.
But also playing out. It's really hard to explain it. It's really, really hard to explain it. But I wasn't scared because I'd done a lot of research before doing it.
Yeah.
And I was in a very safe environment. We were there for 3 days talking about it and trying to figure out what we want to get out of the experience and stuff like that. So it was really interesting.
That's fascinating. They've
Yeah.
become so popular also, like, nowadays. Say so you go on a 3-day retreat, let's call it, to do it. What does the setup look like? Do you do like mushrooms each of the 3 days, or do you have to build into it over the first couple of days, or like?
So you only do it on the last day. So you're just kind of talking about your workshopping. You're trying to you're just talking about what you might experience and how to handle it, or what to expect, kind of things. And also other kind of tools. Like there's a technique that I think people should do this. This is very easy. Sit on the ground and have a conversation with yourself and literally change seats and answer your questions.
Okay.
And it just makes you think about things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would you answer your own questions? And then you have a conversation and keep that going. That sounds fucking stupid. Like, sit on the ground and do that. But it just makes you think of things. So I was going into it knowing that these are the things that I wanted to tackle.
Yeah.
So I'd sit down and I'd say to myself, like, why do you feel like this? And then, like, I literally change, and you feel stupid doing this, like. But then you change and you're like, well, I feel like this because of that. And then you go back and then you ask yourself, you just keep digging in. And you kind of lift it up. It's an interesting technique. So doing stuff like that, workshopping different things for 2 days, and then the third day, you wake up 9 o'clock, little ceremony, and give you the mushrooms, and then it does like a big sound bath. They're playing all the instruments and stuff like that. It's really nice and zen. And like, if you've seen it, if you like, I feel like
I'm picturing my head now. It looks mad.
These are fucking lunatics. Like. You would think, I think that would be like, what are you doing, late lying on the ground eating mushrooms with a gang of God knows where. But it was absolutely incredible. It was really, really good.
It's mad. And the lasting impact that it's had on your ability to process things. I know you were saying you still have a lot of shit to work through, but I'm not an expert. I don't know. I think everyone has shit, and I don't know if any of the shit you'll ever get over, but I think you just learn to manage it and deal with it in healthier ways, and it doesn't like get you to that place where you're just a shell of yourself anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that you found something that worked, and it's a very unique thing as well. I've never heard anyone else who's done something like that.
Oh, really?
No, you're the first person that I can remember anyway.
Probably that said it. I'm sure.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
First to admit to, or like to say this is how I actually did it, as opposed to. But now, even like looking back on situations like that, I know you said, will you ever be okay with it? Let's say, who knows? But even just to be able to reflect on and not have the same like emotional like response to it, or like to look back on those things. Like, I know there's situations that sure we all have in life where at one stage you'd probably reflect on it in your mind and it would bring up the same emotions of like what happened in that moment. You're like, oh fuck, I felt real bad about this or whatever. And then you just hit a stage where it's like, I'm still not happy with how it went.
Yeah, like
or
desensitized.
Yeah, but you're like almost desensitized to an extent of like, it doesn't have that same like grip on me. It doesn't like weigh me down as much anymore. I'm able to have that there and still go on with life and carry myself through it in the way I want to, without having that feel like a massive weight or a burden on me anymore.
Yeah. Still there, like, you know, all the shit's still there, but like, it's definitely taking some of the weight off.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still carrying a skill bag, just less books in it. You know that.
Great analogy for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, one day I'll empty it.
Oh, you just get new books.
Get a Kindle.
Yeah.
Audible.
A little bit off topic, but you were mentioning the wind-up merchants, that whole thing, getting that up and going. And now obviously we know Joe McGucken today, who's done so much shit that I'm not even going to bother listening to all of. But like, how did that happen? How did it go from like a video you're shooting with your mates on a camera, uploading, to now being like having RTE shows, gigging, doing all that sort of stuff?
You just fucking roll with it. Like it just kind of happens. Starting from the wind-up merchants, off the back of that. So I was working in Satanta at the same time as I was doing the wind-up merchants. And like I was saying, it's 5 days on, 5 days off. So when there was the 5 days off, I tried to use that as much as I could to create content and stick it onto the old Facebook. And then Boyle Sports got in touch with us and wanted us to make sketches for them. And we did. We made some sketches for Boyle Sports. And then an opportunity came up where they wanted me to be their social media executive. So I took that. It was an opportunity to get out of Satanta and into a job that felt a little bit more creative. So I started working in Boyle Sports, making content for them, but just for a wage. So I wasn't being paid, but I was just making video. I'd do one video a week by myself in my house. And I was like, I should just be fucking making these for myself, for my own page, build my own profile. Because at that point, the wind-up merchants didn't want to continue on. Like I was saying, come on, we do a fucking podcast or we do a live show, we do something. And they just didn't have the ambition, and they're just like, go out with that. Yeah, like, you know, they were content to just, you know, make sketches here and there. And they didn't see it as a career path or a career opportunity. So that kind of fizzled out a little bit. So I wasn't doing anything with anyone except for Boyle Sports, and I was putting myself up on that social media. And then I started making little bits and pieces for my own page. And then Jer Walsh, who shoots a lot of the sketches that we do, myself and Darren, like, he got in touch with me and asked if I wanted to collaborate with Darren Conway. We didn't do anything before that. Like I didn't know him before that.
Okay, right.
So we met up one day and shot like 3 sketches, and they were funny, and it worked well. So then we started doing that, started making more sketches, and then RTE reached out to do a sketch show, free gaff, and at the same time, Go Loud came and asked us to do a podcast, and yeah, it's just kind of evolving by itself. Like I wish I could take credit for the success, but sometimes things just fucking happen, like, you know, right place, right time. But you have to put yourself in the line of fire, you know,
big time, and put the work in.
Yeah. So that's kind of where things are at now. Yeah. So we done that sketch show. That gave us an opportunity to work with a lot of interesting comedians that we wanted to work with as well, and yeah, it's brand, like, you know, the brand deals kind of keep you floating. So we do a lot of videos for Chadwick's now. Last year I done like 1 video a month for them, which was nice. I liked getting to make them some sketches that I wanted to make. And then Granby, obviously
of course, come fly with me.
Yeah. So I'm putting pitch that, like, what happened with the Come Fly with Me is actually interesting, because an agency just messaged me and said, if we send you out a hamper, will you do like a reel of you making a fry? And like, that's not really what I do. I kind of make comedy sketches. So if you want, I can pitch it a few ideas of comedy sketches. And I did. I pitched them and they liked them and they decided to make them. And then I pitched Come Fly With Me season 1, and now it's in its 3rd season. So it's funny how things can just evolve.
It's crazy,
yeah.
It's fascinating though. It's empowering as well for anyone listening to know, like, you don't have to have it all figured out or like have a big 10-year plan.
But whatever it is that you do, I say that to me mate as well. He does MMA. My mate does MMA, and he's in his 30s now. So like, he's not going to go to the fucking UFC. You know, he's not going to become a world champion. But he's like, but what do I do now? Like, I have these skills, and what the fuck do I do? Like, you just stay in that world. Like, you could become a coach. You could start a blog. You could do videos. You could do MMA review videos. You could, you could start a podcast. You could, you know, there's still opportunities in the world that you're in. So whatever you're interested in, like, carve out a niche, stick to that niche, and make it work. Like, something will happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. You've done a lot in I was going to say in a short period of time. I know you've been alive for a long time, but within the last 3 or 4 years, it seems like there's been a lot of different avenues that you've got to explore.
Yeah.
Do you have any like standout highlight in your professional life of the last couple of years?
We sold out Vicar Street, which was bucket list for me. Like, oh,
Nice.
that's literally on me. That was one of the things on my vision board. So that was really cool to stand up in Vicar Street and do comedy. I acted in a TV show. I was like the star of a TV show. It hasn't come out yet. It's a kids' TV show, but it was still really cool just to be like everything that I'd done before for RTE was for the player.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like full. It didn't have full budgets and it wasn't fully formed. But this was, so it was kind of nice to be part of that process. That was really cool.
Did you say it's a kids' TV program? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's kind of heavy subject matter stuff.
okay. That's so cool that like you'll have lots of stuff that when they're older they might be able to look back on it and see it, but they have stuff that even now they can see their dad on the telly and watch it, and it'll be class.
Yeah, no, that'd be nice. I done an ad for Lidl. It was a little short film, and they were able to watch that.
Deadly.
It's nice to be able to show them things. That
Looking at the screen like, Daddy.
yeah. Are you an elf? Yeah, son. Good, go to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Vicar Street was a big one. Acting in a TV show was a big one, and continuing the podcast, like, you know, the podcast has been successful, you know, commercially speaking, and just satisfying to do. It's a good. Just having the podcast, I think I'm happy
With that.
with that. Yeah.
Quality.
Yeah.
Quality. Just so you're doing a lot of things, but I don't get the sense from you that you dread doing any of them. It feels like you kind of enjoy what you get to do and the balance of things and getting to bring kind of different aspects of you out in each one. Like, I know you love the writing part. You also like the getting on and just chatting on the podcast, like being on TV. Like, I think where you're sitting in the position of like you get to do stuff you enjoy day in, day out. It was like we were talking about success earlier. I think that's probably one of the like main metrics of success you can aim to have, is like just get up in the morning and actually have a day ahead of you. Like, actually don't mind what's on the to-do list today.
Yeah. It's stressful as well, though. Like, everything is stressful. Having a job is stressful.
Yeah.
I often think, wouldn't it be just easier just to have a fucking job and just, you know, you're guaranteed. You can just phone it in, like, you know what I mean? But you can't. You're the product, like, you know what I mean? You have to fucking sell yourself, and if the work dries up, like, the work dries up, and you're kind of, there's an anxiety that comes with that, like, especially January. Things have picked up now a little bit, but like, it was slow to start, and you're just kind of in the back of your head, you're like, oh, is that it now? Is me race run here? Is that the end?
Old news now,
yeah, you know, and it will happen. It will happen. You have to reinvent yourself every now and again, but that's the risk that comes with it. But you know, you can just get a job. Like, you can just, if work does fucking dry up, you can just get a job. When I was working with Boyle Sports and RTE came to us for free gaff, I had to make the decision, like, things were picking up, like, with free gaff and with the podcast. There was other avenues, and I wanted to give 100% of my energy to that, to really make it work. Because if I didn't quit my job, it wouldn't have worked out. Like, it wouldn't have worked out. I had to give it 100%. I had to treat it like a full-time job, like, and just throw myself 100% commit. And I said to myself, I'll give it a year. If it doesn't work in a year, I'll go back to a job. Like, you know, I'll get a job somewhere, wherever. If it's in McDonald's or if it's in an agency or whatever the fuck it is, like. But I just had to. I'd had to give it a go, like, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You'd regret it, yeah.
Yeah, I hate bosses. I hate fucking authority. So that's why I just can't fucking stick a job. I stuck a job for a long time, like, but begrudgingly. Didn't like it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's hard to like a job.
Yeah, it's even a dirty word, I feel like, doesn't it? Job.
You're just doing a job, like, you're just doing a thing that you don't necessarily want. That's what the word job to me feels like. Chore. Like, you're doing something that you don't want to do. That's what job means, which I think is interesting. Isn't it?
Very. It is 100%.
Yeah.
It's like that word selfish, isn't it? It's like
Selfish.
There's connotations to it that just
Selfish job walking sound round.
Yeah, there you go.
Those three things, take away from the podcast. I just have a couple more questions for Joe.
Same,
you Van else, but one is like on everything that you've done up until now. I know you don't like being called a success, so we'll say a semi-success that you've
on the
had.
path to success.
On the path to success you've had so far. If you were to go back and say give advice to a younger Joe or someone who's maybe in the younger Joe's position today, what would you say to them?
Go for it, like just go for it, wherever it is, like, you know, if it's acting or if it's being a social media person or whatever, if it's being a comedian, if it's being a sports person, if it's being a singer, whatever it is, just go for it and give it 100%. Like throw yourself into it and commit to it 100%, like 100%. Put yourself into it, because what a blip of consciousness in a vast. We're floating through space on a rock. Do you know what I mean? And we're here for a second, for a flash, and then we'll die in a few years. We're born, we learn to walk. It takes us ages to grow up. Like, you know, we're 18, and then you're here for a very short period of time. You retire, then you die, and that's your life. Do you know what I mean? So, just whatever it is, whatever your thing is, and if you don't have a thing, that's fine as well. If it's playing the fucking PlayStation, stay and play the PlayStation, knock yourself out, go to town, man. Just like enjoy what it is that you like doing, and do it because you enjoy it. Don't do it because you have to. Do it because you enjoy it. Do what makes you happy. Is that corny?
maybe, but I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree completely too.
Right. Because it is really just a flash, you know what I mean? And you're gone. I was only thinking, like, didn't he find like a really old body, like a bog man?
Oh, his body was still like preserved.
Yeah,
I
he's
remember
like
that.
leather. He's in the museum or whatever. Like, that was a person.
Yeah.
That was a king. They done recent research on him. He was a king. No, I don't know him. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to remember you in 10,000 years. Time doesn't stop. Time continues on. So just like, you know, you have a small gift of life here. It might be long, it might be short, but just like, enjoy it while you're here. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well put.
Yeah.
It's the writer in the middle.
Socials.
That was poetic.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That might sound a bit hyperbole. Is that a word?
Exaggeration, sorry. No, I don't think it is. I think it's a very necessary point that probably doesn't get repeated enough.
Yeah. You lose that bigger perspective when you get caught up in the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
But when you take a step back and it's like the chances of being born are so fucking slim.
No.
The chances of surviving birth, there's like, even to get to this point is already like a miracle in and of itself.
Yeah.
And in this period of time as well, like, you know what I mean? This fucking tech age.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
My question is far less deep, so I'll give you a chance to relax. I wanted to ask, just because I'm a fat bastard and I have my own decision, my own preferences, but for come fry with me, how do you decide where you're gonna go for the fry?
Well, the fourth season was in the wood mill in Coolock, so that was just, I knew it. You know what I mean? I was just aware, go here because I know it's handy. I knew I had a good bit of space and it'd work with the lights and everything. Season 2 was in Bewley's on Grafton Street. And that's because the agency that was working with us, Bewley's was one of their clients. So again,
fair
convenience.
Enough,
But the third one is actually the most meaningful.
In the
one
Kingfisher,
for me. Yeah. I used to go there with my mum and my dad growing up. And I genuinely love it. I think it's probably the best fry in the country.
Yeah.
And if you haven't tried the fry or Kingfisher, check it out. Like, no association here with me. Like, I just called them up. It was my top pick.
Right.
I had that idea before they even got in touch with me. I emailed. It was when I was doing the wind up merch and stuff. I emailed a load of cafes to see if they were interested in it, and they weren't. They were like, "Oh no, can't. Sorry, mate." And Kingfisher was like me dream cafe. Actually, no, it's not. There's a place called Brendan's. We were supposed to shoot the 4th season. I wanted Brendan's Cafe, and we had it. But then, like, the day before we were supposed to shoot it, he thought he was getting a lot more money, and we didn't have that money, so
fair.
We had to pull the plug on Brendan's. But it's a shame because it's a class-looking spot. Like, it would have looked deadly. So that's why, you know, I know this place in Coolock, so we'll do it in Coolock. And didn't have to let us do it at all. Like, so
Yeah.
they were really cool about it, especially on such short notice. And people say yeah to things and they don't realise the amount of equipment that comes with it.
I
And
can imagine, yeah.
they think you're showing up with a phone.
And
You're like,
and
I've got a
yeah.
film crew here with me, man. We're going to take up 17 seats.
What actually goes into it? I'm sure there's like a camera person and like audio person, some lights maybe.
Yeah, all that, yeah.
How many people would you say would go into that one shoot for?
Not a lot. Like four, like me, and then two camera people and a sound person,
Nice.
and then the agent.
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
is there, and then maybe a representative from the restaurant to make sure everything's going all right. Yeah, because I do a lot of the work myself. Do you know what I mean? I do. Yeah, I do a good chunk of the work, like in terms of the production of it. There should be a researcher. There should be a producer. Like if you were to do it for TV,
Yeah. More in it.
you'd put a lot more into it. Like it wouldn't just be 3 people.
Yeah.
I think the way it is better.
Yeah, there's something nice about that.
It's like more raw.
Yeah,
It's like it's just a lad meeting another person for a fry.
yeah, I love it. I think it's mad that I get paid to eat a fry.
It is kind of mad, but it's class.
The first season, it was a smaller budget than the subsequent ones, but that meant I had to eat 4 fries in a day because it was all shot in one day.
No way.
So I had to eat 4 fries that day. Jesus, man, the shits did not smell good. Serious gas.
That is
full black puddings.
Who was in season 1 with you? Was Enya on season 1?
And yeah, she was. Darren Conway, Tony Cantwell, and who else? The Wind Up Merchants.
Yeah.
Lance, yeah.
Oh no way! I watched that one earlier actually, and you were saying to one of the lads who was in on the Wind Up Merchants, who was on that with you. He was saying he was out for a fry earlier that morning with his missus. And you were like, "Is this your second fry today?" You were sitting there 2 or 3.
I was like, only 2, you weak bastard.
Quality.
I love the little concept. Because I genuinely do think you have great conversations over a fry, even if it's in your own gaff, like with your ma sitting down, kitchen table job.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Something very Irish about it as well, isn't it?
Food, yeah.
Pure Irish. A cup of tea and all that. I'm dying for a fry now, lads.
I'm getting hungry myself.
Cup of tea, a fry, a couple of bickies after.
Can't bear it. Can't believe it.
And then some of the cafes, they have like a little cake section as well. So after your fry, go get a little cake.
Beautiful.
Deadly.
A little jam donut.
The day is a write off after it, but it's all right.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow's
I
problem.
can't imagine you eating that with fat on it.
Certain times of the year.
Yeah. Was Christmas heavy for you?
Yeah, heavy enough. Christmas.
His definition of heavy is like so unheavy
turkeys
in
like-
comparison.
Yeah.
You had a bit of fat off Asher on Christmas morning. Like.
Had one of me little chocolates out the advent calendar.
Oh God, I couldn't do it. Yeah, obviously you eat right and you work out. Yeah.
Train, yeah. Oh, just take it seriously.
I think that's a funny word. What are you training for?
That's a good question, to be honest.
I'm just going.
Some
training.
massive
Football?
insecurities on the rest.
Crippling depression.
Do you work out every day?
Not every day, 5 days a week.
5 fucking days a week.
Yeah.
Do you work out?
Not that much. I do boxing as well though, so it's,
Do you?
yeah, I'm not really into the weightlifting side of things, but that's why I look like this. Why we're jumpers.
You wouldn't have the discipline to go to the
gym.
It's do you know what I hate? I hate going swimming because I hate getting changed and dressed.
Oh, that's a massive
The join up
part.
part and all, yeah.
So like I heard you mentioning, I think it was Kiefer on one of the come fry with me, and you were like the whole sea swim idea. You're like, I don't get it, especially because you have to like walk to the water, you get covered in sand, and then like that. I agree with you completely on that. That would be a pain in the balls.
To go in for 2 minutes, like, you know, have a cold shower if you really want it that bad. Like, you don't have to go to the fucking sea for Jesus' sake. Like,
Sand in your toes and all,
Yes.
car covered.
you never get it off. You never get it off. And then you're salty and all. You have to go home and have a shower anyway.
yeah, true. Yeah.
The fuck is the point in jumping in the sea? I just thought it's crazy. It's crazy. Like people in hot countries are looking at the order saying, "What are they doing? Getting it? Like it's not hot. It's not nice. What are you doing that for?" Like Jesus, I think it's the Catholic in us. You know, the fucking. We need to be disciplined some way. So you know, the church isn't doing it anymore. So we need to do it to ourselves. Jumping in the bleeding sea. What are you doing that for? It's freezing. Get out. For fuck's sake. Get out. You're not supposed to be in there. Well, human beings aren't supposed to be in water that cold. Like we came out of it for a reason.
yeah.
And then to make it worse, there's to like meet up at 5:30 in the morning to go for a sea swim.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
so sleep deprived and fucking
Go for reason.
whatever the word is, hypothermic.
It'll wake you up though, wouldn't it?
It would. We actually on Ireland AM a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And like part of the like segment thing we had to do was the presenters were getting in ice baths.
Yeah.
So we had to like try like hype it up and be like, oh, ice baths are great, and like I've never been in an ice bath, so I don't know what the fuck it's like to be in an ice bath.
Yeah, it's great for recovery.
proper.
She's like, is there any like breathing techniques I need to do? And I'm in here, it's like, yeah, just in through the nose, out through the mouth, I guess. Like
Oxygen preferably.
Yeah. Use your lungs. It's a good organ to breathe with.
Guys.
So what were you doing? Did you blaggies away on saying that you was see someone?
No, we didn't actually. We didn't.
Professional
That would be
season.
gas. No, we were on initially chatting about our book. That's what's behind us. We released the book,
shit.
and that was back in November. So we were on in November talking about the book and all the concepts. And because we both have backgrounds in the fitness space, like we were both personal trainers, they asked us about coming back on in the new year to chat about like New Year's goals and fitness resolutions and stuff like that. So that was the initial concept. Similar to what you said, we pitched them like an idea of what we'd like to talk about, and then they wanted some ideas on how we could make it a bit more like dynamic and a bit more moving around. So we brought in ideas like we done a little workout with the presenters, and then as recovery afterwards they'd use the ice bath, and then they tried to like get real professional with the ice baths, like trying to talk about the benefits of ice baths and recovery and all. And that's where it got a little bit like, right, get the spoofer hat on here, black our way through that. But it was good crack. It's funny.
So the two of you wrote a book?
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, do you do a page each?
Word each, we do one, pass the pen over. No, it was actually a collab. So Lee studied English in Trinity, English and French. So he has a big like background, and he loves reading, writing, doing a lot of stuff. So we both had a conversation about what we'd like to put in the book. Then he done like say the first draft. I gave ideas on the first draft, then kind of put it together. So like he done a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of putting it together. Then it was like just editing it, condensing it, making sure it's the message we wanted to get across, and then we self-published it.
And what's the message?
It's called Better Than Before: 5 Rules for Personal Greatness. So that is it in a sentence. It's like we wanted to give some frameworks or guidance for people who want to be better than they were before, improve personal development, whether it's a fitness goal or like anything else in life, business, relationships, stuff like that. Some ideas or concepts that have helped us that hopefully could help someone else.
Okay. Do you know Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
I went to one of his conferences in London.
Oh, right.
And I like concerts.
I've seen some videos of them. Yeah.
Like tens of thousands of people.
What was the name? Was it like Awaken the Power Within or one of those?
Yeah, it's
some mad shit like that.
Like, do you like him?
I don't know enough of his stuff to say whether I like him or not.
I haven't caught up with much of
Yeah.
his recent
If I saw it on TikTok, I'd scroll past, but that's not to say I dislike him.
I was a
Yeah.
big fan of him a couple of years ago, definitely.
Were you? Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't kept up with any of his stuff recently, no.
Like, I wouldn't be into that. No. Self-help stuff.
What if it was Tony
What do you
Robbins
like?
eating a fry?
I say, yeah, come on. Get a lot of sausages into that big mouth of his. But he would we went, and it was a 3-day seminar that you have to walk through it all. But then at the end of day one, he's like, at the end of this,
Yeah.
you're gonna walk on coal. You're gonna walk on fire. And if you can walk on fire, you're overcoming everything that you've learned in your life, and you can be the best version of you. And we're talking about 30,000 people. So at the end of the day, 30,000 people are filing out of this London, it's like the fucking O2 arena, to go into a back alley where they have loads of little smouldering ashes and fires and stuff like that. And I'm not one of these people that's going to be pushing to the front, so I was way down the back. And then I get up, and the bleeding coals and the fires are gone out, and everyone's gone back inside, and they're like, okay, come on, you can walk, and I'm like, jeez, it's gone fucking grand. Like, you know, I took my shoes and socks off and walked off. It's like walking on this floor. It was grand. It's not hot at all. And even if it was hot, I'd be like, what is the benefit? It's like jumping in the cold water. It's like, oh, you can walk on hot shit, great, woo! But it's fucking so obnoxious, and everyone that does it is so obnoxious. And then the second day, you can get a refund if you're not happy. And then the second day we went, we said we'll give it another go, because the first day just felt like a cult or something. It felt like a big load of bollocks. The second day we said we'll give it another go, and Tony Robbins wasn't there, and it was other people giving seminars, and Tony Robbins fucked off home, and like he was just there on the first day. So we went, this is bollocks. We need to get a refund. And the trouble we had trying to get a fucking refund. You have these like Americans with their sales techniques to say, and tell me, why do you want a refund? Because it's a load of crap. because it's brutal. Like, you know, Tony Robbins isn't even here. We came to see Tony Robbins, not even bleeding here. Even if he was, he's talking shy. Walked on the coals yesterday, and it was like walking on water. It was brutal. I want my money back. Oh well, I'm so sad to hear that. Maybe we can discuss it. I'm like, yeah, I have 10 minutes to get my money back, or else like the
thing expires. Like,
you can't get a refund after 12 o'clock. So I need the fucking refund now, and it was an effort, and it's expensive. Like,
oh yeah, you're talking thousands.
Yeah, it's expensive. Like, so we got our money back. Best believe.
Good stuff.
We love a happy ending around here.
Yeah, Tony Robbins.
Well, Joe, we'll wrap it up there, my man. But I really appreciate you coming down, making that trek across, getting through the roundabout, because that's a pain in the arse. But opening up and sharing your story, man, it's been so cool to hear like your transition journey from like the early days, starting out, the creativity, bringing that through into all the cool shit you're doing nowadays. It's inspirational. So thanks for sharing that, man.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on. Nice one.